WNTN Radio Boston. Welcome back to my show, Itali-Echo, the only bilingual Italian-American show in New England. And now it's interview time. Today, my guest is Americana, singer-songwriter. His name is Digney Fignus. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Viviana. I'm pleased to be talking with you and
Thank
your
you.
millions of fans out there.
Thank you so much for joining us. So let's talk about your career, first of all. So it has spanned from MTV Basement Tape success and a CBS record deal to charting on the Americana Music Association charts today.
Yep.
Looking back, what do you think has been the biggest turning point in your musical journey?
Well, certainly when the MTV Basement Tapes, that kind of brought me out of a local scene and into a more national, regional scene. And, that was kind of the catalyst for me being able to get my deal with Columbia. And that, although it didn't work out in the long run, it did open up a lot of doors for me. And it did get me a chance to record in some of, world-class studios, as well as with some terrific musicians that I got to meet along the way, like, for instance, Vicky Sue Robinson, who did vocals on my Columbia work. So that was a lot of fun. That was a big turning point.
Thank you. Your latest project, let's talk about this. So, Black and Blue, the Brick Hill Sessions,
Yeah.
captures a raw, rootsy sound. Can you share what inspired the album's direction and how the recording environment shaped the final result?
Well, this project was done over the span of about 6 years. So it started out, we had just kind of finished our initial recordings. We recorded, I think, 3 or 4 songs, the basics, when the pandemic hit, and the studio essentially closed down for the next 2 years. So we weren't able to do anything. And during that time, I was able to write some additional songs, add to the project. So, originally sometimes when you go into the studio, you have a whole album's worth of material. And in this case, I really didn't. I started out with, I think, maybe 4 or 5 songs. And then over the course of time, I wrote additional material, kind of based on a lot of the news that was coming out of because, what else did we do? We're sitting at home listening to the news. So a lot of that stuff came right out of the news.
Terrific. And Americana blends so many genres:
Hmm.
folk, blues, country, and rock. How do
Yeah.
you approach blending those influences while still keeping your music uniquely dignifigness?
Well, I mean, I've never really my songwriting doesn't necessarily follow a particular genre. The way it works for me is I kind of come up with an idea, and either I'll start with the musical idea and then add lyrics later on, or I'll start with a lyrical idea and then add the music to it. So it doesn't necessarily conform to any particular style. I mean, for instance, on the current CD, I've got stuff that's kind of country-ish. I've got a cowboy song on there where I do a yodel solo. Plus, I've got a number of kind of bluesy-oriented songs, and one song that they're calling a protest song, kind of a klezmer, European style song, and another kind of reggae song in there. So there's a whole it's a whole big mix of different genres, and I don't know, the Americana, it's kind of an all-inclusive label, which is nice because it allows new music to come in, and record companies aren't really so interested in promoting new music these days. They're more or less irrelevant these days as far as being able to develop new talent. They look to the Mickey Mouse Club, and there's their next star.
Thank you. And because we are a Boston-based station, are you playing any local Boston area shows coming up?
I don't have anything up in Boston, although I am going to be starting to look up there because we have been getting some radio support. And but I live down on the Cape right now. I
Mm.
But when with Columbia, I was playing all of the clubs in Boston and in Cambridge. I spent a lot of time living up in Cambridge and Boston. So I'm hoping to get back there and do some more work. I've got my guys up in Boston that I'm sure would be happy to come in and sit in with me. So yeah, that's coming up. I'm hopefully in the next couple of months.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you. Last question for you. So, Digney Fignus is not your real name. How did you come up with such a unique moniker?
Well, Mama didn't do it to me. That would have resulted in probably a lot of beatings in school. So no, it came up. My given name is Robert Brown, Bobby Brown, and I lived in Cambridge for a long time, just outside of Harvard Square. And back in those days, there was a club called Jonathan Swift's that I used to play at a lot.
Oh,
And so
nice.
I was hanging around in Harvard Square,
Hmm.
my neighborhood. Walking down the street, I see a sign up says Bobby Brown playing at Jonathan Swift's, and I thought to myself, well, gee, I don't remember having a date down there. And I looked at the poster, and it was somebody else's face. So I knew that was going to be a problem because you have to have some kind of you have to be able to stand out in some way, and there was way too many Bobby Browns out there. At that particular time, I had a subscription to Billboard magazine, and once in a while, quarterly, they put out a talent guide. And so, I looked up in the talent guide, and had to be at least a page and a half, 2 pages of Robert Brown, Bobby Browns. So I knew something had to change, and it seemed like Digney Fignus was the logical choice.
Thank you so much for joining us today on our show, Itali-Echo.
Well, thank you, Viviana, and Viva Italiana.
Viva l'Italia. Thank you. And guys, now stay tuned because we're going to play Black and Blue.
Hi, this is Digney Fignus, and you're listening to WNTN AM 1550.
She wakes up in the morning, picks up a cup of joe, talks about the latest, then pretends she doesn't know. Boasts of some grand fashion, then watches it implode. It's just another day at work, a fix, a fake, a fold. Wishes she could dress it up, but still it's gonna show. Cause everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows the emperor wears no clothes. Sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes things go bad. When times are rough, you know it's good to have a comrade. Sometimes when you're rushing, it's better to go slow. Forget the proletariat, accept the niet for no. Wish that I could dress it up, but still it's gonna show. Cause everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows the emperor wears no clothes. Spy with my own eye. There's rockets rising up into the sky. Why, oh why can't someone try before it all explodes? Cause everybody knows, everybody knows the emperor wears no clothes. Once upon a time, wasn't really long ago, I can still remember a place I used to know, where real was real and I could feel there was somewhere to go. But now it's out of fashion and double speaks in vogue. Wish that I could dress it up, but still it's gonna show. Cause everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows the emperor wears no clothes. Everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows the emperor wears no clothes. Everybody knows the emperor wears no clothes. Everybody knows the emperor wears no clothes. jumped on the bus and headed for Hollywood, rolling across the Great Plains. She just had enough of living in Omaha, knew it was time for change. I see her out there in the night, looking for stars in the lights. Yeah, there she goes, American Rose. Everyone knows her by name. Let's raise a toast to American Rose. Hope we may see her again. Hope we may see her again. Up to the Rockies, down through Nevada, across the great desert she came. Into the city of angels. How could she really be blamed? I see her out there in the night, looking for stars in the lights. Yeah, there she goes, American Rose. Everyone knows her by name. Let's raise a toast to American Rose. Hope we may see her again. Hope we may see her again. A toast to American Rose, and hope we may see her